Sunday, Algebra 2 Trig. I am coming in on a Sunday to do a wonderful video. And we're going to do 2.6, solving inequalities. And our essential question will be, how do I solve inequalities? Okay, and then before we start, I just want to go over a quick review of inequalities. This is greater than, this is less than, this is greater than or equal to, this is less than or equal to. And for the ones that don't have the or equal to, this is an open dot when we graph. And then for the ones that have or equal to, it will have a closed dot when we graph. Okay? Other than that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's do the first example. Our first example is 9x minus 8 is less than or equal to 7x plus 16. Okay, so it's just like solving an equation, except at the end I have to draw an inequality graph. So the only thing I have to remember is if I ever multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to switch the sign. Okay. So right now, I want all the x's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 7x. Then I'm left with 2x minus 8 is less than or equal to 16. I'm going to add 8 on both sides. Then I will have 2x is less than or equal to 24. I'm going to divide by 2. Now I'm dividing by a positive number, so I don't have to switch the sign. So it's x is less than or equal to 12. Okay, and then after each inequality, I do have to graph, so I'm going to draw a quick number line, and it doesn't have to be super fancy. I usually put 0 in the middle, just so I kind of know where I'm supposed to do. And then I know it's around 12, has the or equal to, so I'm going to put a solid dot, or a closed dot, and it's less than, so x is less than or equal to 12, so less than would be to the left. Okay, and I'm going to draw on the number line, draw an arrow. The only thing I would say is please do not do this, okay? So let's say this is 12. Do not close a dot and go like this. I hate it when people do that. So don't do that, okay? All right, let's do a second example where we're actually multiplying by a negative number, okay? And this one's going to be a compound inequality. So this one I'm going to have two inequalities. So x plus 7 over 2 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, this is two inequalities in one. Another way to kind of show this is you can cover this up, and write one inequality. So 2 is less than negative x plus 7 is less than 2, is divided by 2. And I can cover up the other side and write the other inequality, which is negative x plus 7 divided by 2 is less than or equal to 10. And then since this is a compound inequality, I'm going to put and. You could solve it that way. That's one way. I could solve it as a single inequality like example 1. But today I'm going to try to solve it as a compound inequality. So this is just another option. Okay? So this is another option. All right, so let's finish solving this one. Okay, so 2 is less than negative x plus 7 divided by 2 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, so I want x all by itself in the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the whole equation by 2. Okay, so if I do that, I will end up with 4 is less than or equal to negative x plus 7, that 2 goes away obviously, is less than or equal to 10. Okay, then I'm going to subtract 7, and I have to remember to do it to 3 sides because there are 3 sides. So it'll be negative 3 is less than or equal to negative x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to you could do a couple things. You can multiply the whole equation by negative 1, or you could divide each term by negative 1. I'm going to divide each term by negative 1, just because that's what I'm used to. It's essentially the same thing. Okay, so negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. Since I divided by a negative number, I have to switch all the signs. So this one's going to be now greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Negative x divided by negative 1 is x. And then 3 divided by negative 1 is 3. Okay, so now I'm going to graph my inequality. So I look, 0's in the middle, negative 3 is to the left of 0, positive 3 is to the right of 0. Okay, so I'm going to read this inequality. This is x. If I cover this up, I'm going to read it as x is less than or equal to 3, or 3 is greater than x. Okay, so if x is less than or equal to 3, I'm going to put a solid dot on 3, and I know I'm going, since it's less than, that way. Okay, I'm going to cover this up now. This is x is greater than or equal to negative 3, so I'm going to put a solid dot on that and go right. Okay, so now this is my graph. Okay, so I screwed up. This does not have an or equal to sign, so cross that out. So actually I should have a open circle on 3. So let's redo that graph. So it should be an open circle on 3, and then a closed circle on negative 3. Okay, so that's my graph. And if you have any questions, write it down, and have a good Sunday. Do I sound like Mr. Doan yet?